Have you ever felt the weight of being completely alone and wondered if it's a curse or a hidden gift? Nietzsche believed that solitude is not an enemy but a teacher. Society teaches us to fear being alone, to fill every moment with distractions, to measure worth by social validation. Yet the greatest lessons often come when we are removed from the noise and forced to face ourselves. Solitude, Nietzsche argued, is a crucible for strength. When we are alone, we confront the raw reality of our thoughts, fears, and desires. We encounter the shadows of our mind without the comfort of distractions. And in that confrontation, wisdom begins to emerge. How often do you avoid being alone, fearing the silence will expose parts of yourself you're not ready to see? That fear is exactly what Nietzsche challenges us to overcome. Because it is in the quiet, away from the influence of others, that the mind can reflect honestly and the soul can grow strong. Loneliness is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is an opportunity, a chance to understand your deepest motivations, your true nature, and the patterns that have shaped your life. In solitude, the unconscious speaks, revealing hidden desires, suppressed fears, and unacknowledged potential. Have you ever realized that some of your greatest ideas, insights, and personal breakthroughs happened when you were completely alone? Those moments are not accidents. They are the fruits of solitude, the teacher Nietzsche revered. But solitude is also a mirror. It shows what you have been avoiding. The thoughts you bury, the patterns you deny, the desires you suppress. They all surface when you are alone. This is why so many flee from it, choosing distraction over discovery. Yet those willing to face the discomfort emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever. Have you ever felt restless in your own company, as if being alone were a punishment? Nietzsche taught that this discomfort is a signal that you are avoiding growth. Solitude exposes the truths we usually hide from ourselves, our fears, our insecurities, and the patterns that have shaped our lives. The mind, left without distraction, begins to reveal the hidden structures of the self, the shadows lurking beneath daily routines, and the unacknowledged desires waiting to be explored. Loneliness is often mistaken for weakness, but it is, in fact, a tool of strength. The more we learn to sit with ourselves without distraction, the more we develop resilience, clarity, and self-mastery. In this silence, the mind becomes a laboratory where thoughts, emotions, and experiences are examined without judgment. How often have you avoided being alone because the silence forces you to face parts of yourself you've been running from? That very avoidance keeps you small, dependent on others for validation, and disconnected from your true potential. Nietzsche argued that the lessons learned in solitude are essential. Without it, personal growth is shallow and incomplete. Solitude also sharpens creativity. Many of history's greatest thinkers, writers, and philosophers found that their most profound insights emerged when they were fully alone. The isolation allows the mind to wander freely, explore new ideas, and connect previously unrelated concepts. The unconscious, freed from social constraints, becomes a powerful guide to self-discovery. Yet, solitude is not without risk. Too much isolation, without reflection or integration, can lead to despair, obsessive rumination, or disconnection from reality. The balance is key. Solitude should illuminate, not isolate. It is a teacher, not a prison. By embracing solitude intentionally, we confront the raw truths of our minds, develop inner strength, and discover who we are when no one is watching. These lessons cannot be learned through constant social distraction, superficial relationships, or mindless activity. They emerge only when we face ourselves completely. Are you truly comfortable being alone? Or do you only survive in the company of others? Nietzsche believed that the fear of solitude is a reflection of how disconnected we are from ourselves. Most people flee from silence because it forces them to face the uncomfortable truths they have buried deep within. Unfulfilled desires, unexamined fears, and the shadows of their own psyche. Solitude strips away distractions, exposing the self in its rawest, most vulnerable form. In isolation, the unconscious speaks. Patterns you ignored, mistakes you repeated, and hidden emotions you denied suddenly come into focus. This confrontation can feel painful, even terrifying, but it is necessary for personal growth. The mind begins to reorganize, integrate, and ultimately transform the raw material of experience into wisdom. How often have you felt restless or anxious when left alone, realizing that the discomfort comes from confronting your own truth? That anxiety is a sign that growth is possible. It's the mind's way of saying you're touching parts of yourself that have been neglected for too long. Solitude is also the crucible of creativity and insight. The mind, free from social pressures, can explore ideas without judgment, connect seemingly unrelated concepts, and develop a deep understanding of life and self. Many philosophers, writers, and thinkers throughout history discovered their greatest insights when alone. This is the hidden power of loneliness. It reveals not emptiness, but the depth of your potential. Yet, Nietzsche warned, solitude is dangerous if misunderstood. Too much isolation without reflection can lead to despair, obsessive rumination, or disconnection from reality. The key is intentional solitude, using alone time as a teacher, not as a punishment. This is where true strength is forged, where the mind and soul confront the shadows and emerge wiser, clearer, and more resilient. By embracing solitude intentionally, we reclaim agency over our own thoughts, free ourselves from external validation, and discover the unshakable strength that comes from truly knowing and trusting ourselves. If these truths resonate with you, and if you feel the pull of your own inner growth, like this video and remind yourself that learning to sit with your own mind is the first step to becoming unstoppable. Who would you become if you truly embraced solitude as a teacher, rather than fearing it as punishment? Nietzsche believed that intentional solitude is not empty or lonely. It is fertile ground for self-discovery, wisdom, and inner strength. When we deliberately spend time alone, we give ourselves the space to reflect deeply, understand our values, and confront the parts of ourselves that we often hide from the world. The power of solitude lies in its paradox. The more uncomfortable it feels at first, the more growth it brings. Silence forces you to meet your own thoughts and fears directly. It exposes the patterns, habits, and desires that have unconsciously guided your life. In this confrontation, insight emerges, clarity forms, and the unconscious begins to reveal its hidden lessons. How often do you run from being alone, filling your time with distractions, noise, and social validation instead of sitting quietly with your own mind? That avoidance is exactly what keeps your inner strength dormant. By facing your own company, you reclaim control over your mind, rather than letting external influences dictate your thoughts and emotions. Solitude also fosters creativity and innovation. Free from the judgment of others, your mind can explore new ideas, imagine possibilities, and see connections that are invisible amidst the chaos of social life. Many of history's greatest thinkers, writers, and philosophers found that their most profound insights occurred during moments of intentional isolation. This is the hidden gift of loneliness. It is not emptiness. It is preparation, a rehearsal for the life you are meant to lead. However, Nietzsche warns that solitude without reflection or integration can be counterproductive. Spending time alone without purpose can lead to rumination, anxiety, and even despair. The key is intentional engagement with your own mind, reflecting, journaling, meditating, and confronting your shadows. This is how solitude transforms from a silent challenge into a powerful teacher. By practicing this balance, you strengthen your independence, develop emotional resilience, and deepen your understanding of your own values and desires. You begin to act from insight rather than fear, to create rather than react, and to live authentically rather than perform for others. And if you feel the pull of these truths, if you are ready to transform your loneliness into a tool for growth, then subscribe and turn on the bell to continue this journey into the hidden psychology of solitude, where your greatest strength lies waiting. Are you truly using solitude as a teacher, or are you still running from the lessons it offers? The harsh truth Nietzsche revealed is that most people fear being alone because they haven't yet faced themselves. Solitude exposes what we have been avoiding, our insecurities, our desires, and the shadows of our mind. And yet, those who embrace it deliberately discover a strength that cannot be found in crowds, in validation, or in distraction. Being alone forces honesty. It forces you to confront your patterns, your mistakes, and your true desires. The more you resist it, the more the mind fills the silence with fear, doubt, and distraction. But the more you accept it, the more clarity emerges. You begin to see the invisible threads that guide your choices, the unseen fears that shape your relationships, and the hidden potential that has been waiting quietly within you. How often have you avoided sitting with yourself because the silence made you uncomfortable, revealing the truths you didn't want to face? Every avoidance feeds weakness. Every confrontation builds strength. This is the paradox of solitude. The very thing you fear most is also the source of your deepest power. The lessons of solitude are clear. Awareness without action is incomplete. Reflection without integration leads to rumination, and insight without practice is wasted. Nietzsche's philosophy teaches us to balance introspection with engagement, to let the mind illuminate the path while the body and heart walk it. By embracing solitude intentionally, you reclaim your independence. You stop seeking validation externally and start finding it within. You learn to listen to your own mind, to trust your intuition, and to act authentically, guided by insight rather than fear. And here lies the ultimate suture, the sandwich method. Even as you master solitude, another challenge awaits. Social influence, distraction, and internalized expectations are forces that can quietly derail you if left unchecked. In the next video, we will explore how external and internal pressures silently sabotage your growth, and the strategies to maintain your inner strength while engaging with the world. If this resonates, if you recognize the power of solitude waiting to be harnessed in your own life, then subscribe, turn on the bell, and continue the journey into the psychology of self-discovery, where the lessons of being alone become the keys to mastery and freedom.